No, this doesn't. Oh, will I?
I can't believe you just said that.
You're going to get us all canceled.
Oh, no.
All right. This is the first stream that we're having with 5 people on here. It's literally all the co-authors that are a part of the System Apocalypse world these days, which is huge. Kind of amusing, really. I'm going to start out with Katie, and then you guys can go introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Katie. I write books, including System Apocalypse Australia. Is that what I'm supposed to say? And I write other books too. But...
Yeah, you can talk about your other stuff.
Oh, I can? Oh, that's dangerous. I write System Apocalypse Australia. I've written Somnia Online, and my current one is this, which is so pretty and beautiful. Anyway, there you go.
Book.
Thank you. I love it. I'm a bit biased.
Just a bit?
Just a bit. Yeah.
All right, who wants to go next?
Talking about Katie's book, I'll do it. It's really good.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. It's a good book. You're up, Jason.
My one that loves you guys.
I am Jason Willis, and I'm not good at this camera thing because I'm making my angle wrong, but I'm learning. My book is System Apocalypse Liberty. So far, just the one. I'm the minnow here with all these guys, but it's Head of the Class, though it's not a book specifically aimed for children. Yeah, that's the only one I've got so far is Head of the Class, other than the story in the anthology. But I will talk about Katie's other book, Overdue, and Tao's other books are also awesome, like Thousand Li is my favorite. Thousand Li is so good I can't even read it when I'm writing, or it breaks my voice.
All right, Craig.
Craig Hamilton. I write the System Apocalypse Relentless series. There are 3 books out. I'm writing book 4 now. It's in progress. I took a little break to write a little side project that wouldn't get out of my head, and I'm hoping to have that out by the end of the year. I've got cover art for it all done. It's in editing, and I got to finish my revisions on it and send it out for proofing, and then it'll pretty much be done. So.
Woo! I'm so excited for it. The cover is amazing, and it's going to be great.
Thanks. I hope so.
And David.
Hi, I'm David Packer. I'm the author of the System Apocalypse Kismet series, which the last book is coming out. Well, you could buy it already on Starlight Publishing website. Yep. Fool's Last Dance. Really excited about it. Had a pretty great time writing it.
I love those covers too.
Right? I know. I just love they're on the bookshelf, and I keep looking at them. And I saw them in the library. It was the best thing ever. Yeah. So anyway, I'm a writer.
Yeah, and I'm Tao. I wrote the original System Apocalypse, and I'm the one who invited all of these people to come and write in my little crazy fever dream of a universe.
Thank you, Tao.
Yeah, I've had a lot of
I
fun.
like the fever dream. I think the fever dream works well. That's
nice.
Pretty accurate.
Like, when I first wrote the first book of it, it was done in like 2 or 3 months, really.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably figure it out because it's probably all the things are saved inside Royal Road on that, because I was writing the thing. There was
I remember.
It was just crazy. I was all that happened was 2-3 months, and then I just turned around and went, oh, hey, I have a book here. Maybe I should do something with you. But yeah, so that was us, I guess. Initially, and then I started publishing it, and it became a lot larger than I ever expected it to be. And I think I did the anthology, the first anthology, and I invited a whole bunch of people to write in it, and that's how Craig got involved, because he wrote one of the stories in it that I actually wanted to read more about. Like, I enjoyed every story that I published. There were a couple in there that I really wanted to see more happen. And I reached out to all the authors, and Craig was the only one from that first anthology who said, "Hey, yes, I want to keep writing."
Oh, come on. He said, fuck yes. That's what he said.
How was that actually, Craig?
It was crazy because I never really thought I would ever publish anything. I just kind of scribbled stuff around, and then, when you put out that open call on your website for, the short story submissions, I had just finished reading a noir anthology of like these detective stories, and some of them were sci-fi. It was Noir Fatale. It was an anthology that Larry Correa put together. And the idea for Hal just hit me out of the blue. And, I had this scene in my head of, this bounty hunter walking down this dark street at night hunting a serial killer. And so that was the whole thing that I was trying to recreate in that short story, was just this scene I had in my head. And that's where the story came from, and it went from there.
Yeah, it was kind of fun getting involved in working. I mean, I learned a lot trying to figure out how to launch an anthology there. Then I grabbed Katie, but that was more of me bugging Katie to go in, because we were complaining about, we were talking about how no one ever actually has families. Do you remember? You are now muted, Katie.
I had just finished writing, I think it was Rise, and you read Rise, which nobody else read, so that was good. But he read Rise, and he's like, "What are you doing after Somnia?" Because I just finished the book and I was editing it, hadn't been released yet, and I was like, "I don't know, writing something." And he goes, would you consider writing in System Apocalypse? And I was like, oh yeah, like it's on my TBR as well as 5,000 other books. And so I ripped through the series. I think he had 8 or 9 out at the time, and I was like, so if that office, like 3 days later, because I read super fast, and I'm like, so if that office still open, if that's still a legitimate offer, yeah. And then we were talking about what it would be like, and I was like, I'd like to do a mom and kids, and he was like, oh my god, like nobody ever does the families, because I'm a mom with a kid. So
I think
but he wouldn't let me do an OP main character. So he wouldn't let me do an OP main character, which I really wanted to do. So
I think Kira's OP in her own way.
Oh, I love Kira. And I know, and fun fact, I named Kira after my dead dog. So my corgi who died.
Also sweet.
Yeah. And
after that,
just as wonderful.
We had the 2, and then I did the second anthology called years later, and probably that'll be the last anthology called. It's a lot of work doing anthologies, not a lot of money. And then both David, who I actually know from real life,
we fought each other.
Yeah, I bugged.
We met over sword blades, literally.
Yep. Yeah, and then I bugged you to go and write for it, and then Jason was a surprise actually, especially because of how good the work was. Like I knew David's work was going to be good, just because I've read some of his other writing before.
Terrible.
I didn't expect Jason's.
Wow.
Thanks, Tao.
I like all of your work, but I mean, Jason's was surprising because I didn't, you get random stuff. It's just like Craig's was surprising, right? I don't know I don't know all the rest of them. I knew you beforehand because we chatted before. But how was it? What made you decide to write which, your particular anthology stories? Jason?
For me, I had been a big fan of everybody but David, who I'm now a fan of, but I hadn't. David came out when I did, but I'd followed all the books, and I know when I read Lit RPG and Game Lit, I always like them, but there's only been a couple, 2 or 3 series that I'm listening to, and I stop, and I'm like spending hours just daydreaming about playing in the world and what I would do in the system and stuff. And this is definitely one of the series. So when I saw the anthology call, I was like, oh, I definitely want to play in that sandbox. And the weird thing, though, is that the stories that David and I were asked to do are very different in that it was very different. It's not going to be fantastic necessarily at combat. What's the rest of the world like? It's a broader scope, and it made things a little bit different. And so for me, I had been an insurance agent. So I was like, I wonder what it would be like if you were an insurance agent in the apocalypse. And I had this whole kind of idea going that like, if you're a community and you have a party that goes out into the wilderness, you can take an insurance policy so that if they die, you get resources back. And I was working on that, and I saw a clip of Mr. Rogers talking to Congress, which I recommend to everybody. It's just fantastic. He melted the crazy. It's like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington level. Amazing. They didn't even vote on his proposal. They gave him a standing ovation, and this was before he was famous. And I watched that, and then it took me down a rabbit trail of some other Mr. Rogers stuff, and I thought, we need more of this and less of everything else. This was right after COVID. The whole country's like tearing itself apart, and I'm like, we need more of this. And it got me thinking about that whole line, and I was like, what would a Mr. Rogers like character be like in this kind of post-apocalyptic world? And everything kind of came from that with What Would Mr. Rogers Do story.
That's really interesting, actually. I haven't seen that clip. I'll have to go and watch it at some point. How about you, David?
It was a long journey. I'd known Tao before, to the point where at some point Tao had said, oh, I've actually written some stuff, but don't read it. And then never mentioned it again. So then one day I was kind of like, let's just look up and see what Tao's done. I'm like, oh, System Apocalypse. What is Lit RPG? Let's download it. Tao doesn't want me to read it, but I'm going to read it. Let's see how it goes. The next thing I know, it's like, book 12. That was really good. Man, this sounds like fun. And it was like you said, that playground that my brain just immediately clicked into this is an awesome playground. And then when the anthology call came up, it was like, oh yeah. I want to get that fun thrill of how my brain just picked up the whole concept and just started to give me daydream after daydream after daydream. Like I'd be reading the books. Yeah, it's like when you're reading a good book and you're like a character in the book. You're everything that the author's written. You're thinking, oh yeah, if I was in this, I would be doing this right now. Yeah. And you start to run the second story at the same time as the main story that goes along that the author kind of runs. I wanted to give readers a chance to share into that kind of thing, and I wanted to kind of lean back to the stuff I started reading when I was a kid. All I had was libraries in a tiny little town and fantasy. So I was thinking of Ilmet and Lankmar, one of the old Fafford and the Grey and Mouser series. And I wanted to like take that classic fantasy and that engagement of that and try to see if I could bring that into Lit RPG. And wow, it was dead simple to do. Like I sat down, I wrote that short in like an hour, maybe 2 hours. I went for a walk and the idea popped in my head. And I ran back home and sat down, burned it out. And it was just like, this is incredible. It just grabbed me. And that's that whole sense of it, excitement and adventure and that unlocking a part of your brain that can now daydream about fascinating things all the time. That was what got me into the anthology, and then it didn't stop into the trilogy.
So I'm going to let you guys whine a little bit now. How was it like writing in my universe? Because these days it's a shared universe, but it is very much the initial groundwork for it is all it's preset.
To be fair, we had a lot of arguments about your system. To be very fair, Tao would go and get this. So like I would like listen. I have a lot of trouble if I haven't read a book. I can't really listen to the audiobook. But I had read the books, so I was listening to the audio to like refresh my memory. And And then I got dev edits back from Tao, and I'm like, that's wrong. You can't criticize my system there. I'm like, no, because Ali in like chapter like 12 says blah blah blah, and you can't say that that's not possible. And I was like, where does he say that? And I'm like, right here. And I was like, oh, okay. And so for the rest of it, I was like, basically, everything John experiences is through Ali's point of view. You can't say that the system wouldn't phrase it differently. So
there was very much
yeah.
There was some other aspects. We did have to pull back on some of the other aspects.
Well, and then you would be like, okay, but it needs to be rephrased, or we need to rework it a little bit, or, you know, and I'd be like, okay, I'm good with a compromise, but you can't say that it's not in the, like, it's not fitting in with the system. So we would have, it was actually kind of fun to do, because we would be like, and we'd have like a debate back and forth. I find it's not just Tao's world. Like, I find it very hard not to just keep creating my own world. I don't like being like hemmed in. I want to just make shit up, because that's what I do. And when it's already been made up, it's really hard to like shoehorn everything into it from my brain. But I did really enjoy writing those books. So yeah. There you go. That was, but we always got through our gripes. We would like logic them out against each other. So I'd never approach him for me to keep something unless I had like a solid argument. I'd be like, look on page.
How about the rest of you?
I wish some of my ideas I'd run past Katie first, so she could argue them for me. I think they would have been different books. Maybe those no, you can't do that would have like turned into, well, actually, I heard that in book 4. No, it was good. Like, for me, it was challenging, because I write a lot of the other writing I'm doing that I'm working on. My previous book was hard sci-fi, so I'm used to having a really open scale, and not having that open scale did cause a few little. But it was a good idea. What do you mean I can't? It's a good idea. Okay, maybe it's not a good idea. Fine. So I think mostly for me, it was once, writing in the system, writing in the universe was difficult, but it also really helped me grow as a writer, because I had to force myself to not just go with that first fun idea in my head, but actually kind of go, okay, how does this work? How does this develop into a story? And then getting that feedback from you was kind of like, I mean, I love pick up book 1 and go, yeah, this is fun. And then pick up book 3 and go, wow, I think I just went to Writer University and got a master's degree. Damn. So it was good. Hard, but good.
Yeah, Tao has to rein in some of my more, let's say, creative ideas sometimes. What do you mean I can't crash a spaceship into the planet?
Yeah,
that wouldn't have any long-term effects.
I remember that one. That was
I had to rewrite my whole ending.
I'm trying to retrofit it into one of them now, kind of figure out which one it was that would have had a starship crash in. Cool.
Yeah, I had to go and yeah, that was funny. How about you, Jason?
Mine's entirely different. My fun and also challenging experiences with Tao are very different, because I played role-playing games all my life, and I've had a lot of great DMs. And I learned, back when I was first starting role-playing, I was ornery and a rules lawyer and stuff like that. But I've learned to get mellow, so I'm really respectful of DMs. So it made it really easy where I'm like, hey, I want to do this. And he's like, you can't really do that. I was like, well, can I do this instead? What could I do? It's really easy if you've got that viewpoint of, this is the dungeon master. He's the one running the game. I'm the player, all the players. But it made it where you don't have that level of tension on that. Where Tao and I get into tension is when I'm first drafting this, it's like as written or as directed by Joss Whedon, and he's got to he's got a no. You can't have that level of dialogue in an action scene. You need to trim that down. They're not having that level of speeches. So it did actually make it a lot better when we narrowed the dialogue and stuff. But I've got the comic books and cinematic stuff going in my head because a lot of movies, a lot of comics growing up. So I had to break away from that. The other thing that actually really helped, I think, is I'm naturally a pantser, seat of your pants writing like Tao is, but I'd studied for years learning how to write. And so I actually learned how to outline. And so I could kind of plan the broad strokes ahead of time. And it let me say, hey, can I do this or that before ever putting anything on the page, which made it a little easier to get some of the problems out of the way. The other funny thing is I'm not the way that the system is. I'm not 100% sure on some of the numbers for like how to calculate some of the hit points and things for like the monsters or the challenge level for the monsters. And so I've just gotten to the point that I just put, I'll fill this in.
Yes. Yes.
Just got that in for me.
You're not the only one. I think almost all of them do that to some extent.
For
It
me,
makes me so
it was
much
more.
easier.
For me, it was more in the fight scenes. I'd sketch out a fight scene and say, "You can fill that in." Because
That's
fight
awesome.
scenes are awesome, and I'd be like, "That's too much effort for me. I've been condensing everything into your world. You can finish this fight scene for me." He didn't
didn't know
write
that was
them
an
all,
option.
but he did extend them
You
for
don't
me.
need that, David.
He was just better at fight scenes than me, and I had so many insomnia that I was just so over fight scenes. I was just like,
You
"I
actually
fight
got.
scenes."
I personally think you got a lot better at writing fight scenes too as we
Yeah,
went
it's because of
along.
you.
Like, the first fight scenes were, I felt,
But that's because I did them from a game perspective because I was used to writing from like a rating game perspective rather than writing from an actual fighting standpoint. And so after like the first book and maybe a little bit of the second, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I need to not do it from the koala fight was probably my best one after the first book
That was
because
cool.
I was writing and I went, oh, wait a second, I'm doing the not simultaneous sort of fighting that I do in a computer game. So yeah. Anyway,
That
I
fight scene
love
gave me issues, by the way. I mean, now I'm kind of like I go hiking through the woods here. And I'm like, koala? Oh, that's just a grizzly. Thank God.
I'll shut up now and let Craig talk.
I love the relationship with mana in your books. It's so good.
Oh,
that was a really well done way of looking at it. So, just to answer Todd's thing about official tabletop thing, not System Apocalypse. We haven't had any. I've explored it with a couple of people, and it's never gotten anywhere, unfortunately. I am nearly done with the complete series Bible for the first 12 books, so that might end up as an encyclopedia, which will get close to being possible to actually create a tabletop system. The problem with tabletop systems is I would prefer someone who actually knows how to create one, and instead of me just randomly throwing one together and then having it completely broken in terms of how the system is broken, because I don't know about the rest of them, but I used to break systems for fun. It's like, there's a glitch. Let me see how I can create the most OP character using this glitch. And then that's when the GM would be like, house rule, you're not a celerity. House rule, no temporis. That is not allowed. Vampire the Masquerade.
Love that game.
Old system. So broken though. Especially the True Blue especially the temporis. That's just wrong. Anytime you can use time magic, that's just wrong. But Andrew Seipel has created a system for Treadbear. You can find it on RPG.net if you look for it. He's the only one I know who has actually created a system for one of their.
I actually think Seth Ring just finished a Kickstarter for one.
Did you?
That he just I don't know if it's based completely on his worlds, but I know that he just finished like a tabletop something or other
I think it was just
Kickstarter
a
type
board
thing.
game. I don't think it was
Was
related
it?
to any of his actual
Oh.
worlds. It was like Shuffle Dungeon or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was.
Got some shopping to do.
But yeah, that's I know. Yeah, I don't know of anyone else who has. I think part of the problem with a lot of these systems is that we kind of write broken systems. I know System Apocalypse is very broken in some ways, and a lot of it relies on people on fudgy math for damage, for example, right? And part of it is very much a case of it's my real world, martial arts experience. It's like a punch is a punch. No, it's not, right? A punch has can be a lot of different things, and so trying to do that inside a hard system can be really difficult at times.
That was the hardest part for me, was adapting a fight system that wasn't real world. It's like, yes, and then they hit right here and they're dead. Oh, what do you mean they're not? I think it was one of the first critiques that Tao gave me was like, so your fight scenes need to be longer and have more conflict. I'm like, yeah, but you get a punch in your, oh, right.
Yeah, I've always, whenever I game, I've always played enchanter, mana heavy classes, mind control classes. So literally in everything I write, my characters always need a mana ability, mind control ability, and I love putting those into fights because I feel like if you don't have a strong will or a strong mind, then if somebody can get under that, like that can just screw everything up. So, or win the fight for the people, and it's always been. I've just always loved that.
Makes for fun role playing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was my first. I didn't play D&D originally. I played. It's called Rifts. It's like a British one. Yeah, and I was always a psionicist. Yes. So it was my thing. So, and I did. I did an enchanter in EverQuest, a coercer in EverQuest 2, where I met my husband. And then I did psionicist and a blood mage in Vanguard. And then I played a druid for 12 years in WoW. So, but they got rid of my mind control characters. That really pissed me off. It was such a cool type of character base, and they were all like, "No, it makes it too easy." No, it makes it really good if you're good at playing that class. Because you could get really bad ones and they'd suck, and you'd just be like, "Oh, please get out of my group, go away."
If there ever is a System Apocalypse role-playing game, we should get this group together and play a group.
Yeah.
Play as our main characters.
I'm so good at that. I've got two main characters. I win.
I mean,
but I'd have to go and look up her skills.
That could easily be done in an open-ended system, right? That isn't, a rules fight system where people aren't expecting hard numbers, right? If you're trying to keep it as close to the system as we've written it, it would be a lot more difficult because it'd be a lot crunchier. But if we wanted to do a rules fight one, that would actually be viable.
Yeah, or like a Fate type.
I'm in. What do you guys do next weekend? Weekend after next.
That'd be fun, actually.
I actually
It would be fun.
I have a standing every month. Brian Norden, Jack Fields, and Rachel Meekirk and I do the Last Sunday Squad, and we do a D&D game, a live streamed one, and I've got that coming up on Sunday, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
You guys are hysterical. Like the sibling relationships you guys have going.
Hey, excuse me, Lenora and I get on really, really well. It's still as a dick.
And you have a great sibling relationship with your brother.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I think, what did I play? Yeah, and I'm a what is it? Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Because of course I am.
So, favorite scenes that you guys wrote in your series? Who
Do we
wants to
just-
answer first?
So I think
Somebody else should talk.
one of my favorite scenes that I've done is I try to from the titles, a lot of mine are homages to westerns, and so I try to sneak little scenes in that are from the title movies that I'm riffing off of. And I wrote one in my book 3 that was the big showdown from True Grit, where I was kind of replicating that, the High Noon Showdown. It's in downtown Denver, but it's the Main Street shootout that is kind of the John Wayne holding the reins in his teeth, and he's got a rifle in one hand and pistol in the other, right at it, the bad guys. So I was trying to bring that into the System Apocalypse a little bit.
Nice.
I'll go, but it's a little hard for me because I don't want to give spoilers on my book that is now available for sale. It's I didn't do the release info like David did. The book is going to be out on October 8th in both print and audio. We got so lucky on the audio. I got the advanced copy, and Daryl Mayfield is brilliant. If I had infinite money and infinite influence, I would not change him with anybody else. His range is just phenomenal, and especially his voice for my character Lee is amazing. It is also available already on Starlit.
Yep.
For not the audio, but for the physical copy. But otherwise, it's going to be available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all of those types of things. But as far as my favorite scene, I don't want to give away too much because it is other than the one what would Mr. Rogers do opening from the story. I really, really love. But there's a scene where Lee and Pavis end up together. Pavis is the shield bot companion for my main character, who starts out as a teacher and has to become something more to be able to survive in this kind of environment, and ideally without losing himself in the process. But there's a scene where the shield bot companion and the semi what's the word? It's not a hero, it's an anti-hero, the kind of anti-hero side character that's almost a buddy comedy, but not comedy character with the main character get together, and they're talking about what to do about the main character and how to keep him alive. I really like how that scene came together. I just as a tiny little aside, I will give a little bit of a spoiler. I don't mind giving one spoiler. One of my favorite things is there's my shield bot companion, the system companion for my main character. The main character is trying to get him to watch Earth shows or to care about Earth shows, and he just mocks and ridicules him and lets me do a little jab at Dow's system companion for John.
That was the most fun part of it, was giving jabs to John.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kira says it would be really nice to have a fairy to interpret the system for you.
I
think we all threw some of those in.
Yeah, I made fun of the system quest, and I had, that sounds like a headache for somebody. John keeps getting the headaches after he gets the system library.
In season 3, I made another. In book 3, I made another dig, and I was like, in comments, that's enough digs at John, Katie.
I also shamelessly stole Craig's villains and threw them into
I thought so.
into my chapter too.
They're
just so great. The Crim.
Yeah, we shared the goblins, the goblin race. Remember?
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was fun. So, David.
Well, there's one in the third. I don't think it's much of a spoiler, but so I moved from a big city from Vancouver up to this teeny little mountain village, and in doing that, I gave up my favorite food of all time, which is the Taco Time crisp meat burritos, which are like cheesy fast food, but when you dip them in the salt, they're my favorite food in the universe. So writing a scene where Fool is losing himself eating them was the most self-indulgent thing I've ever written. It felt so good, and it made me long for them so much, and I'm still craving them. I got to drive back to Vancouver someday just to get some. But favorite-wise, some of the arcs I like in the second book, getting a chance to write Fool getting in touch with a relationship that he didn't know existed, and that kind of grabbing some personal stuff and pouring that into that, really reading back, and I was kind of like, I know where that came from. It was good to enjoy that little bit of happiness that someone got there. It's nice.
Any scene with Mama Wombat.
I
love Mama Wombat. Combat Wombat. Especially when she uses her as a combat wombat. That was fun. And the drop bear scene.
the drop.
Yeah, the drop bear scene. I loved writing that one.
I think
That was
that's everybody's
probably one of the
favorite.
more memorable ones. And just the new covers that we have with the
That drop bear cover is freaking fantastic.
it's if
I
you
love
haven't seen it, it's just ridiculous.
I have to admit, the most fun part for me was just mutating all of the creatures that are already deadly in Australia. It was so much fun. It was a lot of fun.
I had to avoid doing that. I didn't want to steal it too much from you.
Yeah,
I did a little.
I mean, that's part of the fun in general, is just making up the monsters, is because you've got Earth as a baseline, and a lot of the things people run into are things that were once here before the system, and so you make things bigger, you make things nastier, and
making the monsters was the fun part.
Seriously. I like pulling some from mythology, and I had Nick Podell, the narrator, was asking me about one, which there's a is it N something, I can't. It's not Nick Tuku. It's something. I'll have to look up the name again, but it's Irish mythology where the horse-like creature is actually has the skin turned inside out, and it's connected to a figure on top of it. So it's a human, almost like a centaur, but it's skins are turned up completely inside out.
Like Levy, something like that.
Yes, yeah, something like that. Nicola V and everything. And he was just asking me like, "Where do you come up with that?" And I'm like, "That's not me. That creepiness is not me. I'm just borrowing it."
I loved I borrowed, I wanted a Hakata. That's the name. That's how you pronounce it, right?
The Hakata? Yeah.
The Hakata. Yeah. I loved those characters, and so that's why I stole one of them and put them in Australia, because it was really cool, because then you could tie it in, and you could really liked that. I really liked being able to have overarching consistency. Was fun.
I really like the way that most of y'all.
But most of us, really. Which one did you like, Tao?
Who's your favorite, Tao? Tell us who's your favorite.
Me.
John is his favorite.
I have to admit, my favorite, my own favorite scene. I think it comes very late in. I think it's book 9, 8. No, yeah, book 9. Where he's John's. I start out the book with John basically doing an orbital drop.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And just raining hellfire down on the entire planet, and it was just like, I want this in a goddamn anime scene.
Yeah,
because it's just like, I needed to go and showcase exactly how far he'd come, and it's like, how do I do that? Oh yeah, let's just showcase him taking out an entire army by himself, pretty much.
That sounds like John, because we get a hint of that when he comes back to Earth for the first time, and he's showing off his new masterclass skills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, just having him come back and just trash everything. It was, I like playing with that, where you can just kind of have this, where you, especially if you have a time jump in there, you can just showcase people, exactly how much someone has progressed in there.
I am exceptionally bad at time jumping anything. I'm like, oh, but what if something really crucial happened in those 3 hours?
It's hard.
Like, I'm just so I'm I think I think what the first 3 books cover 6 months or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you were
And,
supposed to do a year.
shut up. Yeah, dude, you're lucky it covered 6 months, mate. Like that was already like that was pushing it. I'm up to I'm 50k into book 3 of Library System, and I think she's 4.5 months into stay.
Oh, I thought it would be day 4 by then.
No,
she's
I'm
not
not
Brian.
that bad.
I haven't actually read Brian's work, but I'm told that book 1, which is like 200k, takes like a day and a half.
Oh wow.
But
Yeah.
it's good. You should read it.
I have.
He's
It's
a
high on
wonderful,
my pile
wonderful
of list of
person.
things to read, but there's so many
Oh.
good stuff out there.
I know.
It's
I
fun.
have my TBR has risen like exponentially. Like it just isn't stopping. And I've got people going, I've had multiple people be like, oh, hey, can you read my book? And I'm like, if you're typing, mute yourself. We can hear you.
Sorry, look, if I'm not
I didn't
here
know
in a
who
minute,
was typing it.
there's a big storm rolling in. I know it's kind of
Oh,
scary,
shit,
so I
okay.
might drop offline. Just want to give you a heads up, but
don't do
never
that.
mind.
It's coming. It's the apocalypse.
Oh dear.
Maybe.
But yeah, I have no idea what I was saying anymore. So.
Um,
Oh,
No, my fault.
TBRs.
Oh,
Reading
TBR.
other people's
Oh,
books.
TBR.
Yeah, let's
There's
talk
so
about
many.
that.
I have friends who just been like wanting me to read their books. I'm like, it's on my TBR. I will get to it when I have like because I'll do like a 2-week binge every now and again, and I'll read like 30 books. I'll just rip through a heap of books, and then. But yeah, I haven't had time this year to do my
I
big
finally
binge of
got
books.
to one of the books that I've been looking forward to for a while, Matty Ocha's Death Spiral, and I got a surprise. I got a surprise when I opened that up.
Those really good books.
I really like the Transcendent Green series that she has.
Awesome.
I haven't
That
gotten
he
to
has.
that they have. He has. Yeah. I really do enjoy that series. It's I actually was wandering around Oban, and I have pictures of it, of that place.
Oh,
which is
that's so
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, it's really well written. But
Yep.
what's people's TBR, or what are they going to read in Lit RPG, or just in general that they're reading right now?
Well, some of my favorites lately have been like Mark of the Fool, All the Skills. Absolutely adore those. Mark of the Fool is literally one of my favorites. It helped me get out of a slump when I read it. I'm a bit behind. I've got to catch up. But I got to meet JM at Dragon Con, and I fangirled like a freaking, yeah. I was like, oh my God, your books helped me get out of a slump. You're amazing. And he is just the nicest person. And for those and All the Skills by Honore, she's just a fan. I love dragons. So I mean, really. I love Brian's books, Rachel Nee Kirk's books. I'm reading for 3, Calamity. I think it was Calamity.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember the second name. The second, Desecrate, and I can't remember the name of the third one, but that's awesome. I've just started Jack Field's book, which is very different for Lit RPG, Scarlet Citadel. It's his prose. If you've ever heard Jack speak, the book is written the way he speaks, which is just this poetic, beautiful, like cinematic way that it's written. I'm not entirely sure if all Lit RPG fans are going to be a fan of it because it's beautifully written. But it's a lot of people are like, male power fantasy. Let's go, OP character. Woo, woo, woo. Jack's book isn't like that. It's a
Yeah.
little bit more cerebral, and it's just beautiful to read. But it actually quite, for me, I can't read it as fast as I would read other books because I need to soak it up and I need to like. But it's beautifully written. So, yeah. So that's some of my TBR stuff.
Nice.
I actually like both the power fantasy, action, fast-paced stuff, and the beautifully written. Thousand Lee is another example of that. Tao actually does both. He does both ends of that spectrum, the gorgeously written and the action adventure. But the ones that have been exciting me the most recently, there's this person named Katie Hanna who's got this book about libraries that's just phenomenal. I've been loving that. John Stovall and Shammy Stovall both been putting out amazing stuff. Demon Card Enforcer and Time Marked Warlock are just phenomenal.
Fun fact: they live 15 minutes away from me.
Oh, that's cool.
I really enjoyed Demon Card Enforcer. I was reading through that, and that was my latest RPG work that I read, and I just finished that like a few days ago, and I was like, I really liked what he did with that.
Mhm.
That was well done. I haven't read Shammy's latest Time
so good.
I've seen so much people talking about it, so I know I have to get to it. But
Time travel is so hard to do right, and she does it just brilliantly. And then I know Blaise Corvin has a new book coming out that I'm looking forward to. But the other one I really want to talk about just briefly is T.J. Reynolds back with Rose Reynolds is back with First Fist, and it's just phenomenal. And that's another one with the great writing quality. It's like halfway between old school epic fantasy and lit RPG or cultivation. It's just so well done.
yeah, I haven't actually gotten to a lot of the cultivation work. I find I struggle sometimes with them just because of I don't know. It takes me. I have to be in the right brain space to read those well. Unfortunately, I will. For me, I think the latest one, other than Demon Card Academy, I was reading Afrofuturism one called Binti, Bhinti, and it's really good. I'm like, I got a collection of it, so it's 3 novellas. So I finished the first novella series, and I'm like, I really like this. But it's my bed book, so it's a physical book. I read that a few pages before I fall asleep, kind of thing. So it'll take me like 2 years before I'm done. I'm terrible with my bed books.
That's a good one. I just picked up Aliette de Baudard's Navigational Entanglements. I heard Cultivation in Space and went, oh, hey, yeah? Grab that right away. It's good so far. I'm really liking it.
Aliette's such a great writer. I really like what she's
getting
done.
that impression really fast. I'll be buying a lot more.
If you want more sci-fi cultivation, J.P. Valentine's The Stargazer's War is the
Sweet. I actually just got a recommendation for that one. It's on my next little list.
The second book just came out recently. I just started the second book. I haven't gotten the whole way through it, but the first book was really good.
Frankly, if you haven't read his trilogy, this quest is broken. This trilogy is broken, which is 4 books. You need to read that because I think the first book is This Quest is Bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome. So JP is
I haven't read
excellent.
any of those.
I bought it, but haven't read it
So
yet.
funny.
Add it to the list.
I'm sorry, but if your trilogy is called This Trilogy is Broken and it's 4 books, I've got to. I have to.
It is. He's a great writer. He's fun,
and he's an awesome guy. So, yeah.
Also, a lot younger than you'd expect. Like I met him, and
I've known him for a couple of years. So, but he's wonderful. He's just lovely guy.
There's just so many great books coming out. It's an embarrassment of riches. I'm spoiled. I have a full-time job or full-time plus job that I can listen to anything I want as I'm working. So I'm listening to this stuff, and I still can't keep up with a fourth of the things that I want to get into.
feel so bad. I'm being so lucky to get so many great narrators, like Sherman, David, Andrea, Nick for mine, and all of these amazing narrators. And I hate audiobooks.
Yeah, I can't. I have an audio processing disorder, so I need to see you to listen. Like I need to see your face as you're speaking to really get the cues and stuff. Otherwise, my brain doesn't quite grasp the words properly. And so I can only listen to audiobooks if I've already read the book. So because then it doesn't matter if I've missed stuff or my brain isn't getting it all because I've already read it. So that's how I listen to He Who Fights with Monsters, because I've read all the books. And so sometimes I'll get a little homesick for Australia, so I'll just play Heath in the background.
Oh, he's so good. Heath is so great.
Yeah. So I will just but yeah, that's how I cure my homesickness, is to listen to He Who Fights with Monsters. So.
That's how I cure my sick of homeness.
I think it's, for me, it has to be a great narrator, and it can't be something that I've written or that I've read before, because it drives me nuts. Because as all of that, it's just like, oh, what did I write that?
I can never listen to something I have written because I'm just wanting to rephrase everything, and then I'm wanting, oh my God, there were two the same word family within 50 words of each other. That's too repetitious. And I'm like, oh, so I'll go and I'll listen to Andy as she's like recording, and I can stay for like 20 minutes. I'll be like, bye, have fun. You just read my book. You're good at this shit. I don't care. Oh, she's amazing. And and she is like one of my best friends, and I love that one. I would do anything for that woman. She's amazing.
Yeah.
But I did have a few people going, oh, how did you get Andy to narrate your book? And I was like, she's been my friend for like 6 years. People are like, oh, how do I get Andy to narrate my book? And I was like, you go back in time. You meet her before she was famous.
Yeah, before she got the Wandering Inn, and now her life is the Wandering
And
Inn.
I'm just like, it's not a trick. I didn't like bribe anybody. I know her, and she's wonderful, and I think she's worth her weight in gold. So
yeah, if you treat people well, it comes back.
Yeah,
she's just magnificent. She's just such a lovely person. I adore her.
Yeah.
To be honest, we have an amazing genre. Like I think 95% of the people are just genuinely nice people. The narrators are all lovely. Like, yeah, it's nice. We had comments at DragonCon going, oh my gosh, you guys are so great on panels, because we didn't try to talk over each other. We didn't try to take up the whole panel about ourselves, because we would generally try to give everybody else like their time. And we're just like, well, we're all mostly friends. Like we all know each other and we all love the genre. And it was awesome.
I think in some ways it's also bad, some of our panels, because we're so busy taking shots at each other. Some of our panels, because we all know each other. It's like you're walking into a room of people just kind of giving shit to each other,
and there are some in jokes that people probably don't get, and we'll just be like.
Yeah, especially if you don't know about if you've not been for there, where it's like, oh yeah, talk about the crunch and the juice and the like, no, let's not. We can drop this.
But
and then
I have friends who are like other authors in other genres, and they're like, I want to write a lit RPG. Like they play games casually and stuff, but they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ideas for lit RPGs, and I want to write a lit RPG because you guys are just nice people. And I'm like, yeah, we are. So yeah, that's I think that's a good thing. So, and I'm just realizing I haven't made my weekly post in one of the groups, and I'm currently trying to find images to use. So,
screenshot.
Damn it.
We're coming right up to 9:54. So that's about 5 minutes left. Any other questions? So anyone at the audience want to go and throw questions at us?
I don't know. Do we have anybody? Did anybody ask questions? I wasn't.
I didn't
paying
see it.
attention.
I only saw one question roll through. Someone talking about Ilona Andrews, which was, I should point out, a really good.
Craig, is there another book coming?
But there is. It's going to be The Outlaw Harold Mason, and I'm working on it currently. It's my current project. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Katie, is there another book coming?
Probably not. I have like 30K written of book 4, but trying to make myself write, like squeezing myself back into Tao's world, even though it's an amazing world, is super bloody hard. It just, it depends on my mood and on whether writing more is going to burn me out again. So I have to like kind of consider that, like, because it kind of, I finished the last one and it kind of knocked me out for about a year. I was done. I couldn't write.
It wasn't just mine.
No, it wasn't just yours. But yeah,
It's all Tao's fault.
Well, I had done I'd done Somnia and 2 other books inside of like 2.5 years and pushed all those out. So I'd literally pushed out like over 1 million words in 2.5 years. And then I wrote System Apocalypse, and then there was COVID, and I was homeschooling my child, and yeah, it just all snowballed, and it was kind of not fun.
Yeah.
So maybe, but not anytime soon.
That's kind of my answer for the next Makito and Ali book. I know what I want to write, but my brain keeps on going, no.
That's how I was with because I even have an outline and everything. I know exactly what happens in books 4, 5, and 6 because Tao ends Australia in like book 4, so I don't really have an option. So, so I know what happens, but like, yeah.
So what happens?
I'm not telling you just in case I write it. I'll text you though later because we chat anyway. So I'll tell you what happens. We do. Jason and I are friends now. We chat.
Any other questions? Ooh, Jason. What are you planning for the series? It's a trilogy?
I know for sure there's at least 3. And depending on how that goes, and also depending on how the pacing goes, there's a couple of events that I don't know if I need to shorten them down and cram them into 3 books, or if I need to extend them out and stretch it into 4. But I've got 4 titles. But so far I'm only committed to 3 books. But Head of the Class is the first one, and I'm kind of playing on that theme. Book 2 is going to be called Dropout. Book 3 is book 3 and 4 are a little back and forth on which is going to be which, but one of them is called Homecoming Queen, and the other one is called With Honors, and I'm not sure which it would be 3 and which would be 4, and there might only be 3. So, but I like to play on the theme of the different thing. I'll tell briefly one funny thing about working with Tao. It's as a writer, and you're going through your first novel. I've studied so much, but as I'm going through, just working with him is the next perfect step of the mentorship, and it's great. And with Tao, he's really great at working with you, but not really great at saying things. Like for instance, he bought my story. He bought my story, and he just said, "I'm accepting this story," and that's what he sent me. And then in the making of, he's like gushing about my story. He didn't tell me a word of it. I only found out when everybody else did. So that's
you get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to I think David mentioned that to me too. I'm Chinese. What can I say?
You were a fun boss.
Yeah.
I only see the bad stuff. Actually, I see the good stuff. I just don't remember to say to give
He's
the.
not kidding.
It's easier just to go and pound them down and get them better.
It does make it better.
No, it's. I mean, I kind of feel like if I'm working with you guys, you should know you're good. I'm just making it better.
Yeah.
Which is that makes me a horrible, horrible coach.
Get the results though.
Yeah.
Sadly.
The results.
Yeah, we had to. I think we ended up rearranging the way Tao usually does this stuff because I couldn't feed him chapters as I wrote. I had to write the whole book and give it to him
Yeah.
because I can't stop and start and stop and start because then if I get feedback, I'll just go back and fix that.
Yeah.
But then I'm stuck to move on to the next part. So yeah,
yeah, I did the same thing. I had to tell Tao that I can't take feedback in the middle of the book or I'll never get it done. So you're gonna have to wait till it's done and then tell me what's wrong and I'll fix it then.
I think all of you have basically ended up doing that.
Yeah.
The first book we worked together quite close, and then after that it's just like you all rebel and go, no, go away.
You'll get it when I'm done.
Pretty much.
And then I'll have to rewrite the ending because I can't crash a starship into the planet.
well, that's not fair.
Next book.
Everyone keeps wanting to crash. If I let you crash one starship, then you know that Katie's gonna want to go and do something else. She'll probably want to sink the continent.
A wombat.
Don't you already do that in book 4?
No, I just say that people, almost everyone dies. It's different.
Almost.
He wiped out his face. He's like, so I get to book 4 and I'm like, oh, okay, so Australia's kind of dead. Awesome. So I guess I get to write before it dies.
Well, that's the fun part of playing in the timeline is you've got the timeline that's set up in the main series and you got to figure things out and play with the timing. Like in my book 3, I was trying to figure out how long would it take for the army to move across the country and get to Denver, like is mentioned in book 4. And so what is the timeline? What do the logistics look like? And it's got to fit because it's already written.
Yeah.
Huh. Just realized I could have said the ending of book 3 in Australia and given you an out. No spoilers.
No, I know exactly. I know exactly what happens.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. I know Katie has to put away.
Yes, I have to go tuck my child in.
Yeah, I should probably find out because I'm pretty sure my son has stolen his laptop and is watching TV on it when he's not supposed to.
And Randy may get washed. Oh, David might get washed away.
Snow. It looks like snow.
Please don't get washed away. That would be really sad.
You're getting snow already?
Snow? Seriously?
No.
I live in a remote mountain village at the north part of BC. Yeah.
I know, but that's still early.
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. I don't have snow.
It's I'm 600 kilometers north of Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what's going on out here. There's a tornado just south of me yesterday. It's the end times.
Yeah. Please don't remind me.
Get powers. If it's the end times, get powers.
I keep thinking I need to just go buy a giant piece of land and then hide away in it.
There's one just a little north of here. It's 500 acres. Not very much at all. You don't need electricity, do you?
No, I kind of...
Or flush toilets. It's got solar.
See, this is the thing. I have no actual livable, workable skills in an apocalypse. The only thing I have is the ability to,
You are very good with the sword.
Yeah, I can hurt people. That's about it. I can't build anything. I can't make anything. I can't, I have no skill.
Set yourself up as a warlord. Come on, it's perfect.
I might have to.
If you have a sword, you can get people to do things with skills.
I do. I actually need to go talk to you, David, at some point. I need to go buy more swords.
This is correct.
I've already been asking him about getting data on him from swords because the one on your profile picture is just amazing. That sword is so cool. Kind of princess variety.
Just buy everything from Gus Trim. You're all good.
Yeah, I don't think he's not making them anymore, is he?
He's making one or two little bits once in a while. You can on Facebook. Follow him on Facebook, and then you can get his swords when he's got them up. But you have to be fast
Oh God!
because they go almost instantly.
And how much is it? But they're now like what? Probably 1,500 now.
So that, yeah, I can't remember. He puts the prices up in American, and I can never do the conversion correct. But yeah, about 1,500 or so. I've got two of them now. Two Gus Trim swords.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, everyone. As David and Jason has said, both your books are out on Starlit Publishing. Otherwise, if you want to go pick up your book, it is David's coming out in Amazon on October 1st. Audible already released his book, so you can actually pick up his Audible book then. Podium will release Jason's book on the 15th, and then Amazon is coming out on the 15th as well. And
I thought mine was the 8th.
Is it 8?
I thought it was.
Oh
I
God!
think it is because I didn't think it was the same date as my audiobook for book 2.
It probably
that
is. I'm sorry. I am probably having a.
My second audiobook for library comes out on the 15th, and I was pretty sure Jason's came out like a week before.
Yeah, it's the 8th.
Yeah,
Oh, it's the 8. I'm. My apologies.
that's okay.
I got it early. I get to
And I've
listen.
got
You have time to listen to Jason's before you listen to mine, which has nothing to do with System Apocalypse. I apologize.
and while you're waiting, you can read the omnibus for Relentless. That's out.
Yep.
Excellent. Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's all the things, and thank you all for being on here.
Thank you for
There's
having
no wrong
us.
place to
Yay.
start. Any of these series are a great way to get into it. If there's one that
Or all
catches
of
your
them.
interest, and you
All at once.
all at once.
I've read everyone's at least twice, if not 3 times through.
Aww.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.